My name is Delaney Voss. I'm 33, 8 months pregnant, and for most of my life I've been told that quiet women survive longer. Maybe that's why I married a man who didn't speak, because silence felt like safety. Or maybe because growing up as the youngest Voss meant being talked over, dismissed, trimmed down to whatever version of agreeable my family needed that day. I used to believe silence was a kind of wisdom. But tonight, in my kitchen, silence became a weapon. And it wasn't mine anymore. The knife slipped from my hand when I heard the voice. A male voice. Smooth. Controlled. Completely impossible. Delaney, there's something you need to know. I turned. Slowly. Like my body already knew the truth before my mind caught up. Tobias stood by the doorway. His posture calm. His face unreadable. And his mouth moving. My lungs froze. The air turned to glass inside me. You can speak, I whispered. I always could. The world snapped. A clean, cruel crack. He stepped into the warm light as if he'd done this every day of our marriage. As if 2 years of signing, texting, gestures, and thoughtful silence were nothing but props for a performance he'd grown bored of maintaining. My pulse hammered up my throat. Why? It was part of the experiment, he said. My work demanded real data. You provided it. Experiment. Real data. You. The word sliced, fast and bright. I pressed a hand over my stomach. The baby kicked, sharp under my palm. My body was reacting before my mind could. You should sit, Tobias added almost kindly. Stress affects fetal development. I laughed. A broken, breathless sound. You lied about your voice, Tobias. Don't pretend you care about my baby's stress. Our baby, he corrected, soft. Almost gentle. Almost. I stepped back until my spine hit the counter. My breath came in thin, stuttering pulls. When did you decide to tell me? I asked. Tonight felt optimal. Optimal. Not honest. Not humane. Optimal. He spoke like a scientist observing a specimen, like I was a measurement, a graph, a reaction time. I reached for my phone. He didn't stop me. That somehow terrified me more. I called my sister. Sloane answered on the second ring, voice clipped, annoyed. What now, Delaney? He can speak, I said. Tobias. He spoke. He's never been mute. A pause. Short. Heavy. Then, don't be dramatic. Maybe you misunderstood. I didn't misunderstand. Delaney, you always do this. You rush to panic. Handle your marriage like an adult. She ended the call. Just ended it. A strange ringing filled the kitchen. The kind that comes when you realize the one person you trusted enough to call doesn't believe you. Won't save you. Tobias watched me quietly. No tension. No guilt. Just observation. You told her, I whispered. His brow lifted slightly. Told her what? That you're not mute. Another pause. Not in those words. I felt my knees weaken. The room tilted. You've been planning this, I said. I've been measuring this. More accurate phrasing. Tobias glanced at the notebook on the table. My notebook, full of hand-drawn signs and pregnancy symptoms and little hopes for the baby. Your emotional responses have always been remarkably consistent. Consistent, like a controlled variable. Like I wasn't a wife, but a chart. I grabbed the nearest object. One of the sticky notes I'd written for him earlier. Do you want tea or water? A stupid question. A domestic little lie of normalcy. The note fluttered from my fingers and drifted down between us. Tobias watched it fall, eyes tracking the descent as if logging the trajectory. You don't need to be afraid, he said. I'm not afraid, I snapped. A lie, sharp and desperate. He smiled, small, precise. Your breathing says otherwise. There was a quote my father used to say before he died. Truth isn't what people tell you. It's what they do when they think you can't see them. I never understood it as a child. Tonight it echoed like prophecy. I backed away. My heart thrashed in my chest. Tobias, stay away from me. Delaney, he said, stepping closer. Everything we built was meaningful because you believed it. That belief gave me the purest data I've ever collected. The baby twisted inside me. A hot, protective instinct flared up my spine. This marriage wasn't data, I said. It was my life. And your life, he murmured, has more value than you realized. A cold ripple worked through me. What does that mean? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. Something shifted in his eyes, an openness, a vacancy, like a door closing behind him. A lock clicking shut. I turned and ran. I didn't know where. Just away from him. Away from that voice that should never have existed. Behind me, Tobias whispered, soft enough to sound tender, clear enough to gut me. I've been listening to everything. Not just your words, your silence. And for the first time since marrying him, I understood. I had never been alone in that house. Ever. I locked the guest bedroom door behind me with trembling fingers. The baby kicked again twice. Hard. Like she knew. I leaned against the door, listening. Nothing. No footsteps. No voice. No apology. I didn't trust the quiet. In this house, silence didn't mean safety. It meant he was watching. I grabbed my laptop from the nightstand. Shaky hands. Fast clicks. My inbox open like a wound. Search. Prenatal rights plus property transfer California. My vision blurred. Scroll. Scroll. Terms. Clauses. One article caught my eye. Spousal authority in tech startups when one partner is incapacitated. He'd positioned me like that. A dependent. A mute companion to a mute genius. But Tobias had never been mute. And I had never been safe. I clicked over to our shared financial dashboard. Password prompt. Session expired due to inactivity. Try again. Wrong. Try again. Wrong. Try again. Locked. My heart dropped like a stone. He'd changed the access. I didn't scream. Screaming would make it real. There's a rule in survival. If you can't fight and can't run, play along until you can choose one. I chose neither. I chose clarity. I called Nolan. He picked up on the second ring. His voice came through like static on a storm line. Del. I need to ask something. And you can't interrupt. He didn't. That alone scared me more. Did Tobias ever speak to you? Not sign. Speak. A pause. Then. No. Never. But you've been to the office. You've met him outside. Yeah. But it was always text, note signing. Del, what's going on? He spoke tonight. Clear. Confident. Like a TED Talk. You're serious? He said it was part of an experiment. Silence. Then Nolan's voice, low and clipped. I think you need to see something. But not over the phone. The line died. I stared at the screen. A cold, wet fear crawled up my neck. I opened Tobias's old backup drive from the closet. The one labeled Q3 2022 Europe trip. Plug. Click. Folders. Routine at first. Conference photos, museum shots, boring tech graphs. Then I found it. /raw footage, /test subject / The folder contained names. 6 women. One of them was mine. Delaney.mp4. I didn't click it. I couldn't. A quote my mother used to say echoed in my skull. If you want peace, don't dig for the truth. But if the truth finds you, don't run. My hand hovered over the play button. A knock broke the silence. 3 slow taps. Not Tobias. He never knocked. I froze. Listened. The knock again. Louder. I slid off the bed, quiet as breath. Moved to the window. A man in a gray hoodie stood at the side gate. His back turned. No movement. I blinked. Gone. Like he'd melted into the night. I turned, heart racing. and froze. The guest room closet door was open. I hadn't opened it. Inside, the baby monitor glowed faint blue. I never used the baby monitor. Not yet. I crept forward, picked it up. The screen flickered. Static. Then my own face. From the hallway. The feed wasn't from the guest room. It was from the outside camera, facing inward. Someone had rerouted the system, and someone was recording me. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. A mechanical voice. Stop looking. You're not meant to remember. The line went dead. I dropped the phone. Then I heard it. Downstairs. The front door unlocked. Slow. Careful. Not rushed. Not forced. Whoever it was had a key. I didn't breathe. I backed up. Sat on the edge of the bed. Eyes locked on the door. My mind was already drawing a map. Back window, 5-foot drop, hedge cover. My car? No. Tires slashed 3 weeks ago. I thought it was random. It wasn't. I reached for the drawer. Pulled out the flashlight taser Nolan gave me last Christmas as a joke. I heard the floor creak. Then silence. I whispered to myself, like a promise, like a prayer. Next time he speaks, I'll be ready. But the voice that came through the wall wasn't Tobias. It was a woman. She whispered, "He's watching both of us now." The woman's whisper slid through the wall like smoke. "He's watching both of us now." I jolted back from the door. My pulse hammered so fast it felt electrical. "Who are you?" I whispered. Silence. Then a soft shuffle, a breath, and nothing. I opened the door a crack. The hallway was empty, too empty. The kind of empty that feels staged. Cut scene. I grabbed my phone, dialed Nolan again. Straight to voicemail. I didn't leave a message. Messages could be intercepted. A phrase my father used to say flashed through my mind. Sometimes the quietest rooms are the ones with the most eyes. I hadn't understood it when he said it during our ugly childhood dinners, but I understood it now. Fully. I checked the guest room closet again. No one inside. But the baby monitor was still warm in my hand. Still humming on a battery it shouldn't have had. What else had been planted? Cut scene. I moved down the hall, stomach tight, every step a calculation. My palm slid along the wall, following the faint vibration. This house had a heartbeat and it wasn't mine. Halfway down the stairs, the lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then steadied. Not random. Tobias had installed smart lighting throughout the house. He could control it remotely. He could control everything remotely. Cut scene. I reached the bottom step and froze. The front door was closed now, but the deadbolt unlocked. I didn't hear it lock again. I backed away, heading for the kitchen. Bright, open, fewer corners. Fewer hiding spots. My breathing stayed shallow, measured. Panic wastes oxygen. Fear sharpens instinct. On the kitchen island sat an envelope. Thick, cream-colored, elegant. My name written in Tobias's architectural handwriting. Delaney, 2:47 a.m. I checked the clock. 2:47 a.m. My throat clenched. He time-stamped it for the exact moment I'd find it. I didn't open it right away. I surveyed the room. Counters clean, stove off, windows locked. No shadows where shadows didn't belong. Then I slid a finger under the flap. Inside wasn't a letter. It was a contract. A durable power of attorney, notarized, granting Tobias full legal authority should I become incapacitated. My signature was at the bottom. Perfect. Precise. Forged. A tremor ripped through my arms. No. 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 I shoved the papers back inside the envelope. My skin burned where the document touched it. A memory flashed, his mother, Lorna, smiling at our engagement dinner. Real love is obedience. Without it, marriage collapses under its own ego. I'd brushed off the comment as generational poison. Now I saw it for what it was, foreshadowing. Cut scene. Behind me, A soft vibration buzzed on the countertop. My phone lit up. A new email. From Nolan Bradford. Subject, he lied to all of us. Attachment, video_log017.mp4. My fingertips tingled. I tapped the video. Static. Then, Tobias appeared on screen, standing in a sterile lab room. Speaking. Not signing. Not writing. Speaking fluently. We proceed with subject, Delta tonight, he said. Calm. Detached. She's responsive. Highly attuned to emotional cues. Data suggests she'll adapt quickly. Subject Delta. Delta. Delaney. Blood roared in my ears. The room tilted. Another figure stepped into frame. A woman. Pale. Blonde. Wired look in her eyes. Are you sure she's stable? She asked. Delaney. Tobias smiled. She was conditioned long before she met me. My stomach nodded. Conditioned? By who? Cut scene. A sudden crash shattered the moment. I spun around. The back patio door swung open. Blinds swaying violently. Someone had broken the latch. Wind rushed in, cold and sharp. I stepped closer, heart pounding. The backyard was empty, quiet except for the faint hum of the pool filter. Then I saw it. Footprints. Small. Bare. Leading from the patio door toward the side gate. Not Tobias's. Not mine. A woman's. The same woman who whispered through my wall? Or another subject? I followed the prints with my eyes until they disappeared into the darkness. Cut scene. My phone buzzed again. Another email. From unknown. No subject. One sentence. He's not the experiment. You are. A cold clarity hit me. Clean, brutal, undeniable. Whatever Tobias had been testing. It didn't end when he spoke. It didn't end when he married me. It didn't end when he got me pregnant. The experiment was ongoing. And escalating. A shadow moved across the pool deck, too fast to place. My breath hitched. I stepped backward until my spine hit the fridge door. Then I heard it again. A whisper. From outside. Closer this time. He's coming. The hospital lights buzzed. Too bright. Too sterile. I wasn't supposed to be here. But Tobias smiled like this was the safest place on earth. Everything will be fine, he said. His voice was too smooth. I didn't believe him. The hall was empty. Clean. No visitors. No nurses. Just the hum of fluorescent bulbs and the whisper of my own breath. They'd signed me in as a high-risk prenatal case. No questions asked. The paperwork was flawless. It's funny how easy it is to lie with legal documents. People trust ink on paper more than their instincts. A nurse wheeled me down the corridor. No eye contact. No warmth. Just routine. Routine is what killers hide behind. My phone vibrated in my pocket. A message from Ira. Check your vitals app. There's a hidden feed. The words hit like bullets. My pulse spiked. I knew that app. I installed it when I hit 8 months. Just to track movement. Not for surveillance. But something had changed. I pulled the phone under the blanket. The screen flickered. 2 live feeds. One from the hospital nursery camera. One from a room I didn't recognize. My eyes widened. Not my room. Someone else's. Someone unconscious. Cut scene. The nurse paused outside room 312. Her back was to me. I saw the badge. Eva, 9 Research Unit. My breath hitched. I hadn't signed up for research. I signed up for prenatal care. She pushed the door. And stopped. Her face drained. Her voice barely audible. You're not supposed to be here. A beat. Then. They don't tell you everything in admissions. My skin prickled. I stepped into the room. Bright white walls. Monitors blinking like countdown clocks. And in the center, a woman strapped to a bed. Her eyes were open, but they weren't seeing. The nurse swallowed hard. Subject 3, she whispered. My throat went dry. I knew what that meant. Not an isolated incident. A pattern. A project. A trap. I took a shaky breath. The nurse backed away. I don't want trouble, she said. But I wasn't there for peace. I was there for truth. I crouched near the woman's hand. Her fingers twitched. Barely. A sign of life? Or a sign of malfunction? Why her? I asked. The nurse didn't answer. Instead, her eyes darted to the door. And then she spoke again. He's watching. The words landed like a punch. I stepped back. The monitor beeped. Fast. Then faster. I froze. The woman's vitals spiked violently. The bed alarm blared. Nurses rushed in. Chaos exploded. Cut scene. I was shoved aside. The woman's bed was wheeled out. Nobody looked at me. Nobody asked why. They treated her like a medical event. But I knew better. Someone here wanted her alive. Or very dead. I stood in the hallway. Phone buzzing again. Ira's message. Hospital cams show you weren't alone. Someone didn't want you to see more. My stomach twisted. I opened the camera feed again. But the room was empty. Only the blank ceiling. And then a shadow flickered across the screen. Slow. Deliberate. Not human. Cut to black. Footsteps. Behind me. Slow. Approaching. I didn't turn. I didn't have to. He said my name before I heard his voice. Delaney. I knew that voice. And I knew exactly what it meant. If someone else is in this hospital with me, then I'm far from safe. I woke to beeping. Very slow. Then faster. And faster still. My head throbbed like someone hammered a nail through it. Blink. Bright white lights. My eyes stung. A curtain pulled back somewhere. I saw Tobias standing over me. His face calm. Too calm. He smiled. Good. You're awake. I spat the word out like gravel. What did you do to me? His eyes didn't flinch. Nothing permanent, he said. The voice was too smooth. Too rehearsed. That's when I noticed the restraints. My wrists. Bound. To the bed. My breath rushed in panic. I tried to twist free. The padding dug into my skin. Pain flared. Cut scene. A nurse stood at the foot of the bed. Silent. Motionless. Like a statue waiting to speak. You had a seizure, she said. Her voice lacked concern. Her eyes lacked soul. I remembered her. From the hallway. From the research room. She was subject 3's guard. Cold. Unflinching. Unmoved by human fear. A quote flickered in my brain. Memories are the stitches in the fabric of self. Looks like someone wanted mine unstitched. I twisted my head. Screens lined the wall. Monitors. Cameras. Tens of feeds all live. All watching. My body went cold. I realized then the seizure was staged. A distraction. A trap. I wasn't here for medical reasons. I was here to be redesigned. A cut of static, then a feed changed. One singular window flickered. A familiar face. My mother. Her expression was unreadable. Almost proud. I recoiled as though struck. No, I whispered. But the screen blinked again. My father. Dead for 10 years. Or so I remembered. Only there he was. Smiling. Alive. Moving. I shut my eyes. They were playing with my memories. Rewriting the archive of who I was. I tried to breathe. My lungs protested. My stomach twisted. The movement inside me felt like revolt. Tobias didn't miss it. You must remain calm, he said. Your child's neural data is crucial. The words hit me like ice water. I wasn't here for prenatal care. I was a subject. A variable. A dataset. My heart pounded so loud I thought they'd hear it on the monitors. You think you're saving him, I shot, voice raw. I'm preserving the lineage of emotion, he said. He meant evolution, but it sounded like obliteration. Cut scene. The door burst open. Ira. panting, eyes wild. He lunged for the restraints. His hands shook. "Delaney, listen," he hissed, voice urgent. "They're using neural feedback loops. They're rewriting memory patterns. This is illegal. This isn't just data collection, it's manipulation." I blinked at him. Tobias didn't flinch. He just watched, like he expected this. Ira's voice cracked against the static of fluorescent lights. "They're doing it with consent obtained under false pretenses. That's fraud. That's assault. That's kidnapping." I stared at the ceiling, not trusting my own eyes, not trusting my own mind. I felt my throat tighten. Ira gripped my wrist. "Cold, real," he said. "You're not crazy. What they're doing isn't normal." Cut scene. Suddenly the monitors all switched. A single message filled every screen. "Property released to Wren Enterprises. Per exec order, all rights reserved." My breath caught. I stared at the words. My signatures. On paper I never saw. On documents I never read. Signed electronically. Not by me, but in my name. My legal identity. My maternal rights. Everything. Gone. Ira turned to me, voice low, serious. "They've transferred ownership of your medical decisions to him, including the fetus, until you're declared competent." My stomach twisted. The baby kicked hard, almost like a warning, almost like accusation. I watched Tobias's face, not his eyes. I watched the micro-expression. A flicker, then gone. But I saw it. The shadow beneath his composure. A crack. Someone who thought control meant truth. Cut scene. Another flash on the monitors. A live frame of the lab. But one feed showed something else. Someone moving behind the glass. Slow. Deliberate. A woman. Looking directly at us. Her face familiar. Ira's breath hitched. "Subject 5, he whispered. And just like that, the line between human and experiment blurred completely. Then, behind me, the nurse leaned in. Cold voice. Single sentence. "No one here is forgetting anything." My breath caught. I knew then. I wasn't just fighting for myself. I was fighting for my identity. For every memory that made me me. And for the unformed voice inside me that still, somehow, mattered more than anything else. The storm was louder than any alarm. Wind like a blade. Snow like shards. Sirens wailing in the distance. I didn't flinch. I had a plan. And failure wasn't an option. Ira's voice came through the speaker, breathless and urgent. "They're initiating a lockdown. Power grid override in 5. 5 seconds later, the lights flickered. Then everything went black. Total silence. Cold. Absolute. I pulled the emergency flashlight from my coat. Handheld taser mode clicked in sync. We had minutes. Maybe seconds. I grabbed the USB drive, taped to my inner shirt. Data key. Evidence. Proof of every manipulation. Every lie. Every stolen moment of my life. Ira was already moving. On the floor below. His voice whispered through the earpiece. "Head to the roof. There's an access point to the emergency exit." I didn't hesitate. I forced the door open. Cold air hit me like truth. Sharper than betrayal. Footsteps behind me. My pulse spiked. I turned. Tobias stood in the hallway. His coat unbuttoned. Face smeared with frost and something darker. "Delaney," he said, voice rough. "Human. Don't make this harder." I raised the taser. He didn't flinch. Instead, he smiled. Calm. Terrifying. "You think I'm your enemy?" he asked. I didn't answer. I stepped back. He followed. Slow. Measured. "Every moment we shared," he said, "was real." I paused, and something inside me twisted. Real? For him, maybe. For me? My memories bled into one another. The good and the manipulated. The love and the lie. A quote flickered in my mind. "The heart is a map that can be redrawn by betrayal." I kept the flashlight steady. "It's over," I said. He didn't blink, just watched, like a challenge. Then he lunged. Not fast, purposeful. I sidestepped. The taser met his shoulder. He grunted. Not pain. Surprise. I ran. Roof access just ahead. The storm was a living thing. Wind clawing at my coat. Snow pelting like bullets. I reached the stairwell. Ira was waiting. "Go," he said. "To the helipad. Choppers inbound." I shook my head. "No. We end this here." He hesitated, then followed. We burst onto the roof. Chaos. A helicopter's spotlight cut through the whiteout. Rotor blades beating like a pulse. I didn't wait. I sprinted. Halfway there, I heard him, Tobias, behind me. His figure collapsed momentarily in the storm, then staggered forward. One boot in the snow. One boot in the light. I didn't look back. The chopper hovered. Cold spray in the air. Ira helped me climb. The wind fought us. The pilot screamed something I couldn't hear. We rose. Snow fell away, but the truth stayed. I looked down. Tobias was still on the roof. Alone. Head tilted upward. One arm raised. Not in surrender. In acceptance. He wasn't calling for rescue. Just standing. Like he belonged to the storm. I turned away. The helicopter banked. Below, the hospital became a speck. Lights fading. Like a nightmare dissolving at dawn. Ira caught my eye. "We have everything," he said. The USB drive in my hand was warm. Data intact. Justice waiting. But my heart wasn't light. Because justice doesn't undo harm. It doesn't rebuild what was broken. It only stops the blade from falling again. The chopper flew toward the city. Toward hospitals. Toward lawyers. Toward public exposure. I closed my eyes. Let the wind wash the fear out of me. In that moment, I understood something fundamental. You can lose your voice. You can lose your memories. But you never lose your right to reclaim them. Life is not given. It is fought for. Ira sat beside me, silent. Underneath the whine of rotors, he said, quietly, "You're still you." I breathed it in. Felt it in my bones. Not just the echo of who I was, but who I chose to be. The sun broke through the clouds. A single ray. Sharp. Unforgiving. Like truth. I whispered to myself, "We rise because we choose to." And I meant it. Because some battles are worth every scar. Some truths worth every sacrifice. And some voices, they never stay silent.